welcome to the Latvian Football Podcast, Season 2. We are back, and we are back covering the Virsliga football, which is going to kick off, any day now that you're watching this recording. And there's exciting changes. For one, we have changes to our team. We have a new co-host, Frank. Welcome.
Hello.
You will know Frank from his dedicated episode on Virsliga from the outside, where before we agreed on any of this, we had a chat about why he follows Valmiera FC and what he likes about Latvian football. And in addition to him, we have Gustavs joining behind the scenes. If you follow us on social media, which you absolutely should, you will see his wonderful graphics that will be posted before Virsliga games to give a bit of a background to what's going on, who the teams are, form, and so on and so forth. In addition to that, we have a bit of a format change for this season. Last season we tried rather foolishly to cover every single round, which gets very hectic, especially in this April-March window when Virsliga plays once every 3 games, and it quickly became obvious that that's unsustainable. So this year we're going to be doing one episode per month where we're going to review what happened in the Virsliga during that month. And then kind of in between, depending on what's happening, maybe there will be an interview, maybe there will be, once European games kick off, maybe we'll have dedicated episodes reviewing European games and such. But generally, yes, the Virsliga episodes will be once a month. We will also have a bit of a special series depending on the interest on Virsliga Fantasy, which should be up and running by the time you listen to this episode. And that's very exciting.
It might even be in English this year.
We just had a scoop that it should be in English, so you don't need to because the current fantasy translates surnames, which is admittedly funny but not helpful.
It's been beneficial for my Latvian learning.
Yes.
Latvian language fantasy football. Not doing so well. Haven't been doing so well, so hopefully I've got an excuse.
I think you're doing impressive, but they take that away from you this season. But we'll see. It's all very exciting. So what happened? We've been away since November. Things transpired. Virsliga has been setting up. But football hasn't been fully offline in that period. And of the noteworthy events, one, the Latvian national team got a new head coach, Dainis Kazakevich, finally, after major protests by the fans, was dismissed. The results in the previous qualification round were abysmal, very disappointing to us. And now we have a fancy new Italian specialist, Paolo Nicolato. Who do we know? What do we know about him?
I'm not sure if he is fancy or not. He's got a lot of experience in the Italian, as a under 21 and lower manager for the Italian teams. His track record's impressive for youth football, but it's a little bit undecided for senior football. So that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, his win rate has been really impressive. He only lost 2 games with the Italian under-21s. So that's, that demonstrates something. Whether he'll be good for what Latvian football needs right now, particularly from a grassroots perspective, will be an interesting one. Whether he can perform at a senior level or whether he can get a team performing at a senior level will be the most defining factor for him. But his track record is good. It's generally 2 defeats, and he's been very loyal to the Italian Football Association as well. He was in his role working for them since 2016. So you're looking at a good part of his career working on the international scene. So we'll see. Two games. Only 2 losses out of quite a few. I think he'll could do something good.
Yeah, there is an international break in March after the first 2 Virsliga rounds, so we'll have a first taste of his work. the squad. Hopefully some new faces. That has been a major issue with the previous coach, that it just be the same people over and over again. And another good thing, I think, with him having such background as a U21 coach is hopefully he'll not be as conservative in terms of bringing in new young players. And when we have some very exciting new young players, more on that a bit later, but hopefully we'll see some new faces in the national team.
Yeah, I think the problem with the previous manager and the previous team, the existing squad, but they were a little bit intimidated in games last season. You saw that there was a moment against Croatia where Modric got the ball and the whole team kind of looked at him like he was some saint. So hopefully he can snap some kind of snap them out of ideas that players are superior to them, because that's if you go with that attitude, then you're not going to win a game of football. And I think his experience will be an important aspect as well.
So that's exciting. He has an interesting team. His assistant coach is Massimo Paganin, yes, of Inter Milan fame. And he seems to be the one doing most of the talking anyway.
Yeah, he's a bit of a journeyman as well. Won the UEFA Cup many years ago. Has played with some pretty impressive players. Been in a lot of clubs. I don't have a clue what his coaching experience is like. I haven't found out too much. But he's certainly been around a lot of clubs, and he's worked with some of the world's best players and played with some of the world's best players as well, ranging from Bergkamp, possibly Ronaldo in that UEFA, the old Ronaldo, previous to Cristiano Ronaldo. So we'll see, but he's bringing in some coaches as well. I mean, I just want to see Latvian football really develop its grassroots a lot more, and as you say, bring in the youth and develop a lot more players. I mean, Iceland's a really clear example of building up grassroots, particularly with indoor pitches and so on. And started to see that emerge. So hopefully things can only get better for the national team.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully you're right.
Yeah.
Because things can always get worse also.
Yeah, I guess I have mixed feelings with Paolo. We'll see. I would have liked to have seen him do something from a senior team perspective.
Yeah. But
his track record is excellent, and he's clearly respected by the Italian national football teams. So, yeah, fingers crossed on that.
Yeah. Another thing that made a lot of noise at the end of last season was people call it the TikTok acquisition of Leevon Saldus, which is a second division side. If you're clueless about what I'm talking about, there's plenty of that all over the internet, but in short, a couple of American players who played for the squad secured investment, at least they thought they did at the time, and bought out the license for the club with the intention of relocating it to a different city and getting it into Virsliga in 365 days. And that's sort of been developing until the whole thing fizzled out. Investor pulled out 5 days before the licensing deadline. And so instead of losing another club, which is a story we are unfortunately all too familiar with in Latvian football, Leevon Saldus merged with a third division side, PPK, which is the project of Juris Žigaevs and friends, that we also talked about as an example of a new model of club emerging in Latvia. It's something that's more fan oriented and kind of more grassroots. So those two are now Leevon PPK, Leevon PPK, and they're going to play in the first division, which interestingly makes Žigaevs, in his own words, a very special one, because in every year of club's existence, he has overseen a promotion to a higher level.
Okay, yeah, that's exciting. So next season, we'll see them in the Latvian Upper League.
If you're a statistician, that would be a decent bet.
Or a gambling man.
Or a gambling man, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for the TikTok guys. I think they might have gone in with glassed eyes, looking at the success of the media and the role of the commercial role of media in football teams, and attempted to create something on social media, probably didn't quite get the capital that they needed, and were a bit too ambitious without having a really thorough plan. So it's disappointing to see. I support a little bit of club experiments, but if it sends a club into bankruptcy or administration, then it's bad. It's not good. It's mismanagement, obviously, and it's disappointing to see. But I could see the potential that could have been.
I was very enthusiastic. I think Latvian football needs more innovation in terms of how clubs are run, how they're structured and such. In the post-crash interviews, as it were, seems that it really wasn't anything malicious, but rather a lack of experience and maybe too much arrogance going into that. So we are where we are. We'll see if we follow Leevon PPK throughout the season.
They're certainly quite loud on social media.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job getting themselves out there. So good luck to those guys, and hopefully we'll see them in the main league next year.
Well, place your bets, but I'd rather see Ventspils before I see them back.
Okay.
Yeah. Another thing that happened was the Livonian Winter League. So that took place in February to March. An international competition, friendly competition between Latvia and Estonia, which we covered on social media in depth. And we have a dedicated episode about it with the Estonian football podcast. So we'll not go into details here. You're very welcome to go to that episode and listen what we thought about that. The only thing I will say is that Latvia won. Yeah,
that's a good thing. I mean, my main disappointment was the kickoff times. They weren't very accessible, so it was difficult to follow from my side. But Latvian winning is a good thing. Hopefully it can become, if they go ahead of it next season, it'll be more popular.
Hopefully, yeah. It definitely attracted some attention from people interested in the cross-border league concept. So that's good.
It was good to hear fans coming in from Estonia, visiting Riga and so on, helping the visitor economy out and whatnot.
And RFS fans travelled to Tallinn for the RFS Flora game, and there were quite a few of them.
Yeah, I think that was a nice point of the tournament. New connections being made. I guess you've strengthened your connections with the Estonian football podcast, and so on. And hopefully, it can only improve the two leagues and encourage them to work more together. And it's certainly created a lot of talking points as well. Yeah. Like a national one of the biggest newspapers in Europe talking about a Baltic League, which partly the Livonian League had a role in. Creating a bit more of a conversation around that topic. So
Guardian. There's an article in the Guardian about it by Nick Ames, who was also a guest on one of our special episodes. So, that's just exciting.
Yeah, it was a great article as well. I really enjoyed reading it, and had quite a lot of traction on social media, and created a wider debate. And Latvian football and Estonian football need more of a debate sometimes. So,
especially Estonian football.
Especially Estonian football, they need to wake up a little bit.
They need to think. I think in that episode with the Estonian friends, I think they put it nicely that they need to grow up and move out and get into the real world.
Okay, right.
Because at the moment it's you just go listen to the episode.
It's a little bit controversial, but yeah.
So it's all there. And finally, just before our recording today, something very, very special indeed occurred, and we're just from there. Do you want to?
Yeah, the Super Cup final, sort of similar to the Charity Shield in the UK, in England, and first time in 8 years? 11 years, sorry, my bad. Yeah, so 11 years. It was a great spring, beautiful day. The sun was out, blue sky. It was a very, very exciting occasion. And, there was a real buzz about football being back in Latvia, the season restarting. And it was good to see how teams would come out following pre-season training, looking at new players, few new signings which were a little bit disappointing, but I'm sure we can talk about that a bit later. I think it's partly climatising and so on, but it was a great day out, and another deja vu Riga derby, which again went down to penalties. I'm not sure how much we want to reveal here, but
I mean, it's we're not live, so
yeah, we're not live. Yeah,
it's gonna be common knowledge for all.
Yeah.
Few days. Yeah, again 1-1. Well, again a draw. In the regulation time, no extra time. Surprisingly, went straight to penalties. Went multiple rounds of penalties.
Yeah, there were more penalties missed than scored.
RFS were 2 down after 2 penalties.
Yeah.
And then Pavel Steinbors saved 3 in a row, which is mind-blowing.
Yeah, I thought that was game over. But yeah, that was an interesting penalty shoot. I think we both concluded we weren't that big of fans of penalties.
It's too much.
Too much. They're too much. Yeah, it's a flip of a coin situation, which is never so fun.
But Riga won, and they are now the proud owners of the Latvian Super Cup.
Yeah. Unfortunately, to rush back to record an episode to watch the cup being lifted, but I think
that's okay.
You're also an RFS fan, so you're feeling.
I'm good. I can do without.
Didn't want it to be rubbed in.
Yeah, no. I might just stop going to cup finals, super or regular kind, but I won't. So that's what happened before the Virsliga, and the Virsliga itself kicks off for us next week. For you, probably in a few days, depending on how long it takes us to get this out. And it's exciting. I think it's going to be the best one to date.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Super Cup final. It sounds like you're being a bit bitter here, because it was quite an exciting game, and it was a bit of a grind. And who did you think was the better team?
First half RFS,
okay,
for sure.
Yeah.
Second half, I think Riga.
Okay.
Especially second half of the second half.
Right. I think it was interesting. And we'll move on to quite quickly, but seeing the new players was interesting. The new Argentinian for FC Riga looked sharp.
Yeah.
RFS,
although he didn't score a penalty.
He missed a penalty, but it's a penalty. A few quality players missed. But I think, a few disappointing players for RFS today. It was a little bit, couldn't quite get themselves in the right positions at times.
That's symptomatic of RFS early season. It's just very frustrating to watch them. And this was the same last year. If you've been listening to us last year, you may remember that we kept complaining about how RFS are not fully there, or that they should be doing better. And it's the same again now. The only one, I think, who really doesn't fit that characterization is the new Georgian winger, Lashi Odisharia.
Yeah.
In preseason, I was not impressed with him whatsoever. I thought he's jet-lagged half of the time.
Yeah.
Now, Sabarnex got the Man of the Match award, but I would say that Odisharia is the best player.
It was really disappointing to see him subbed so early, because he was having the biggest impact. So that was, I think, compared to the other wingers, predominantly
Emerson had a terrible game.
He looked like he was playing at wing back at times. He couldn't get back up to the top of the field, and he missed a number of important counter-attacks, going down, saying he was injured, and that was disappointing. And Riga FC's counter-attack was really impressive. And when they were playing as a team, as a unit, they were looking sharp.
Yeah.
But occasionally they went and started playing individually, kind of like our old last season, and that was a big disappointment. And they also failed to get a shot on target until the 40th minute, which was...
That's not uncommon for a Riga derby, though. That's how these games are.
But they got into our RFS's box a lot, so they had a bit of a problem being clinical and direct. But there's definitely some exciting players in Riga FC this season, so we'll see how that goes. And a couple missing, and hopefully they'll be back.
Yeah. So this season, Riga derby is at the end of every lap. which also means that it's going to be the last game of the season. So there's that too. And allegedly that's unintentional, but whatever the reasoning, that's how it's going to be. Something to plug immediately, 25th of August, book tickets to Riga. That's the main Skonto Stadium Riga derby. It's going to be amazing.
The perfect summer day.
Absolutely. Enjoy Riga. Enjoy the best of Latvian club football.
Yeah. A couple of beers on the stands.
You can drink beer in the stands.
Day. Yeah.
It's great.
It's one of the highlights of visiting Riga. The Riga derby, yeah.
For sure.